Hello, Pirate Dave here. It's another new comic book day. It's April 22nd, 2026. Let's get right into it with some comic books. And up first is The Phantom versus the Skyban, the one shot from Mad Cave Studios, following up their 5 issue. Hopefully, they announced it as an ongoing, but it seems like it's going to be a mini at this point because this is not the only one shot that Mad Cave has announced. That's a little disappointing to me as a Phantom fan, of course, but I will take what I can get, and if they continue printing one shots, that'll be fine by me, even if they are quarterly. The Skyband was teased in the miniseries. One of the helicopter pilots for the Singh Brotherhood was a member of the Skyband, and it looks like we're getting right into the action to start off. Looks like their leader is going to be Baroness, not Sala, as you might have seen from the movie. I don't want to. I don't want to get into this too much. Obviously, I'm very excited about this as a Phantom fan, so I will leave the rest of that to discover later on. Up next is Absolute Wonder Woman number 19. Absolute Wonder Woman. We've discovered that Zatanna's Zatanna's intentions are a little bit nobler than assumed after she was introduced as part of the Suicide Squad. Completely understandable. It looks like we're jumping back to the family's time in hell to begin with. And so Wonder Woman has sort of sussed out that allegiance. Zatanna's not completely allied with, Wonder Woman's whole mission, but she is good enough to have aided her in the last issue. I don't know if she's going to make an appearance in this one. I guess we'll have to see. Maybe Zatanna will be starting her own solo series sometime soon in the Absolute Universe. Looking forward to that as well. Kelly Thompson has been doing a really great job, of course, with Absolute Wonder Woman. Up next, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Echoes of the Empire. If you're not familiar, Galaxy's Edge is the name of the Star Wars land in Disneyland. So the Galaxy's Edge comics, there's a previous one that's sort of the precursor to the story behind Galaxy's Edge. They are based around that land. So if you actually go to Disneyland or Disney World, it's exactly the same between the two parks. If you actually go there, these stories take place in that setting, literally in that setting, because there is a story going on as you're enjoying the park, right? I actually just recently, last month, went to Disneyland for the first time and saw Galaxy's Edge. Very cool. Awesome as a Star Wars fan to be able to sit in a cantina. Look at that right there. Just like that one. Sit in a cantina. I should say just like that one. Oga's Cantina. That should be Oga's Cantina, which you can go and sit in as well for 45 minutes. They will kick you out after that. And only two alcoholic drinks per per guest. I was very, very excited to go and visit it, and I think it's something that any lifelong Star Wars fan should probably make an effort to do at least once in their life. I know that everybody has this sort of negative opinion about Disney and consumerism of the theme parks, but it really is an experience. Up next is another G.I. Joe, a real American hero, Silent Missions. This one is for Copperhead. I'm going to be honest. I know the least about Copperhead. I'm really not experienced with this character. So, very interested to see what he can do in these silent missions have been great so far. I can't imagine that his will be any different. I've had my opinions about him. I do think that the Zartan one was a little bit comical and cartoonish. I mean that literally, like the plot was like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. You can take that in a good way or a bad way. It's not exactly what I was expecting from that mission or from any of the silent missions, to be honest. But we do get 5 of them each run around, so if you're not vibing on one, you'll probably like one of, if not all, the other 4. Up next, we have Death Fight Forever number 3. This has been a fantastic not just a satire, not just a parody of 80s 90s beat 'em up video game style, but almost a pastiche, because it does take itself might more serious than you would expect. The premise and the action and the illustration is all very, very vivid and very over the top, right? But the actual plot and the way the characters carry themselves, they do treat it as a serious story. People aren't just cracking jokes, and maybe that turns you off to a book like that. Maybe you want it to be purely fun. And I'm not saying that it's not fun, but I do think that it goes for, at least the last issue goes for an emotional take that you probably aren't expecting from this. But if you like 80s 90s video game sort of stuff, I think that's an easy win. Up next, Headlopper, semi-annual adventure comic. This was really an impulse buy. I don't know. I am a fantasy fan. I don't consume all sorts of fantasy. I didn't get on board with the latest Conan the Barbarian. I'm a big Red Sonja fan, so it's hit and miss. But I don't know, the way that the cover looked and the way that it seemed to present itself. I think it's gonna be. I'm hoping that it's gonna be that sort of dry humor type of story that a little bit like Death Fight Forever does take itself as seriously as it needs to, while not being so stuck into a voice like Conan the Barbarian, if you know what I mean. Look at that, you get a nice big map of the world, and that's that's certainly taking yourself seriously, isn't it? It's thick. It's square bound, I think you can see. So this was $7.99. So if that's a little bit pricey for you, just keep in mind that it is going to be, they say semi-annual, so that I guess that means twice a year. Although I was looking at the release date for the second one, and I feel like it's coming out like next quarter. So I'm not sure if they are going to have that sort of release, and it's only going to be 2 a year. But anyway, lastly, for my comics, my floppies, is Vampirella #1. We're back. We're back to #1 again, and this is mainline Vampirella. So this is Christopher Priest, and this is a series that, if you haven't been following for Christopher Priest's last 90 issues, 80 or 90 issues, then you might be lost. I can't say that Christopher Priest always does a great job, especially with #1s, reorienting a new audience. In fact, the last #1 he did, which was 12 months ago or so, he did a better job reorienting people for the last issue of the previous series, which was the 666 series. As you can see, it passed 666 about 22 issues ago, so they've been maintaining that legacy numbering on the cover since. This is not Ergun Gundes, which is the artist that people seem to be a little bit at odds with when it comes to Christopher Priest series. But this artist is clearly channeling Gundes's aesthetic. He's clearly going for that same type of style, and it looks like the artist is Davis. I'm going to butcher it. Gothen. In any case, if you like Christopher Priest and you like how complex that he develops his stories, Vampirella has been nothing if not that. And as you can see from these pages, we are getting a return of Draculina. And I think we're going to get another Draculina mini here soon. So that's probably what this is going to be leading into. So if you are a Draculina fan especially, go ahead and jump back on with the Vampirella #1. Legacy number 688. Lastly, two things really. First off, I have the Phantom. What is this? What is this? What do you think this is? What does it look like? This actually is a collector's edition of the Phantom beat 'em up video game developed last year by Art of Play. This particular collector's edition was produced by Limited Run. Limited Run produces a lot of physical media, and they'll do collector's editions for those sort of physical media games. The collector's edition was, I think, $70 or $80, but this is not a $70 game. This is like, well, first of all, it was priced at $20, I think, for intro, but this is a very cheap beat 'em up. And I don't mean that, the illustration on it is top notch, but as good as the illustration is sort of as mundane as the gameplay is. It's really not a complex or very riveting, exciting beat 'em up. But if you are a Phantom fan, I think it's worth getting, and purely for Phantom fans. I will be unboxing this in a separate video because I want to post it to a Phantom specific subreddit that I'm a little bit more active in. But I don't want to leave you with nothing for that bonus, so I actually got another another Saturday morning card pack. I think I got one last week as well. Remember, these are $30. $30 a box, and they have one card in it, and that card will be a premium quality card. And what does that mean? Well, it means that it'll be shiny, really, and it means that it'll come in a case that is high quality, a snap case. This looks like the box is damaged a little bit here, but as far as I know, that this has not been opened, and it doesn't look like the sticker has been tampered with. I'm actually kind of hoping for the base card, the silver base card. They only print like 250 copies of the base card, 100 copies of the next tier of cards, of which there are about 6, I think, and then 25, and then 10, and then one of ones from then. So, you're only getting about, man, you're only getting a little over 1,000 cards total out there. But let's see what this is. And it is the base card. So if you saw the cards last week, this is what I was talking about. Last week, we had a card with a smattering of rain in front of it. This card does not have any rain in front of it. So this is the base card. And you will be able to tell because it will say silver card number 1, and it will not have gold numbering on it. It is not a numbered card. You may not believe it, but I'm actually very excited to get this card because, like I said, the next tier of cards, there's like 6, I think, 100 print cards. So that means there's 600 cards versus the 250. I think it's only 250 of this card that they print. So even though this is the most printed card, you are less likely to get it. Does that make sense? You're more likely to get one of the other variants, whether it's the red suit or the blue suit or the rain version, the starburst, the ice burst, or the portrait cards, because there's the different illustrations as well. So this is the card that if you're buying into Saturday morning cards, they'll always, they'll guarantee this base level of card, right? You'll get a foil, high quality illustrated card with, some info on the back, of course, and it'll be in this awesome case. And that's what you're paying $30 for. But, if you have that gambling chase aspect, there is the opportunity to get a card that has an even lower print run than one of 250. There it is again. And let's wait for the camera to focus again. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. I was Pirate Dave. I hope you had a really great new comic book day as well. I certainly did. And I will see you next week. Take care now. Bye.